Hello everyone and welcome back. This video is titled Divorced Mom Was Taking Kids Away, Then They Saw Dad Approaching an Airport. Here we go. As they hastily walked through the terminal, her eyes frantically moved from one screen to another, trying to find the right flight that would get them out of there. It was almost boarding time, and they were running late. But she just couldn't lose that flight. If she did, everything that she had worked so hard for, all of her troubles and hardships, would have been in vain. But she didn't consider something: she was being followed. The plan was clear and set: she and her kids would get on the very next flight out of the country and don't look back. She was looking forward to it. The kids were looking forward to it. They just couldn't wait to get away. But someone else had other plans for them. The father, her ex-husband, had been following them. Now, he was waiting for them at the airport, and he had a few things to say. Laura D. was divorced and a mother of two: Darcy, 11, and Callum, 9. The three of them shared an extraordinarily deep bond. One might think that this is redundant and that all mothers have such a bond with their children. And while that might be true, it still doesn't suffice to explain the kind of union between Laura and her kids. They had been through so much together that Darcy and Callum weren't just Laura's children, they were her companions and confidants. They had represented such a source of support, such a pillar of strength during hard times, that it amazed Laura to think that they had been capable of all that at such a young age. And even though all mothers are given new chances daily to find out something new about their children, new reasons to cherish them, and new things to learn from them, it's not that usual to find the kind of admiration and utmost respect that Laura had for her kids. At such a young age, they had shown their strength to get themselves and their mom through all the hardships that life threw at them. And they had done so without a hint of recrimination or complaint. They didn't look for any culprits in the situation. Before we continue, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. Now back to the video. They just accepted the situation as it was and stuck it out. Laura admired that in them because sometimes it was hard for her to do that. Especially after her divorce from the kid's father. It hadn't been an easy process, but looking back on all their history together and how chaotic and rocky their marriage had been, Laura was glad that she went through what it took to end it. Now, ahead in the future, Laura had a whole new life waiting for her, and she couldn't wait to start it. But sometimes, phantoms from the past can still come to haunt you when you least expect them. At times, she had a hard time letting go of the past. It was just hard for her to forget the disagreements, the fights, the blame shifting between one another. And most importantly, she was still having a hard time processing the disappointment with the person she thought she would spend the rest of her life with. Those years together had presented her with a version of her husband she never thought she would see. But then again, when those thoughts occupied her mind, she thought of the kids. They had shown a degree of maturity and forgiveness in that situation that many adults could learn from. They didn't look for culprits, and it was like they assumed that, from then on, a part of their duty was to keep the peace and take care of their mom. And that's what they were doing that day at the airport. Laura, Callum, and Darcy were just desperately looking for the information about what was their boarding gate. They had just gone through check-in, and they were frightened at the possibility of losing their flight. They couldn't imagine a worse outcome than the plane taking off without them, forcing Laura and the kids to stay there. And suddenly, they saw it. One of the screens showed which gate they would have to go through to board in, and it also showed how much longer it would be open. It was supposed to close in 10 minutes. That meant that they were almost out of time. They rushed through the terminal's hallways, carrying their bags as well as they could, trying to get to the boarding door before it was closed. And suddenly, Laura saw a man they knew. Someone had been following her and the kids. It was Laura's ex-husband, the children's father. He was standing by the boarding gate with his arms crossed, staring at them with a blank expression. That was something that Laura, Darcy, and Callum weren't expecting at all. What was he doing there? What was he trying to do? Did he want to keep them from leaving? Darcy and Callum ran towards their dad, and the three embraced in a hug, teary-eyed. From a close distance, Laura contemplated the scene and smiled. She knew that was going to happen. Despite their disagreements and bittersweet memories from the separation and the months leading to it, Laura and her ex-husband were still on good terms. But still, she didn't expect to see him there at the boarding gate. He had told her he would wait for them on the plane. Laura had to do some errands before the flight. She warned that she and the kids might arrive at the airport a little later than her ex-husband, so he should board as soon as possible, just in case. But the dad didn't do that. He wandered around the terminal, looking for them in case they needed some help. He ended up spotting them, looking lost and rushed. So he decided to give them a surprise. The plan was for the four of them to go on vacation to Cyprus. Even after their divorce, both Laura and her ex-husband understood that the best for the kids, as well as for themselves, was to stay on good terms and adopt a co-parenting style. The kids didn't know that their dad would be coming along with them. It was a surprise that Laura and her ex-husband had planned. They hadn't spent a vacation together since the divorce, and they knew that the kids missed it. The moment was recorded on video by Laura herself, and she shared it on her social media, where it has already been seen, shared, and commented on by thousands of people. As parents, seeing our children upset is hard. All we want is to make our children happy, Laura told the press when asked about the story. Co-parenting is hard for many people, but we are proud of what we have achieved with bringing our children up. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.